understanding what problem are you trying to solve. And if you understand what problem you're trying to solve, then your idea will go a lot of places.
Welcome to another episode of Sell Me This Podcast. This week, we're joined by Moose Abel, the founder of Struggle is Your Success in QA Enterprises. We have a fascinating conversation about the power of struggle in building businesses, the journey that Moose took in not only starting a not-for-profit, but also transitioning that into a successful tech enterprise. I hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome to another episode of Sell Me This Podcast. I feel like this is one of the episodes that I've been looking forward to most all year.
Yeah.
And I am incredibly excited to have with me Moose. Moose, I feel like you don't need an introduction, but why don't you give us a 30-second overview of who you are and how everyone knows you here.
Sure. Yeah, man. First of all, it's a great honor to be on this podcast. So Sell Me This Podcast is very intriguing. Yeah. So everyone who knows me, my name is Musap, but people call me Moose. That's my professional name. I'm a two-time founder, entrepreneur, disruptor, community engager, communicator.
I feel like that's the understatement of the year. I feel like there hasn't been an event I've been to in the last year that you haven't also been there.
Right.
And I feel like you're infamous, and I feel like you didn't use your line, which is the only moose in Canada.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I am the only moose in Canada, so people will not forget that. But I did not use my line this time. Yeah,
there we go. I got to steal it from you.
So you got to steal it from me. That's good.
You know what? That's a big honor to be able to steal your words from you.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate this.
Amazing. So I'm super excited to have you on the show today. I feel like
Likewise.
we have infinity things to talk about.
Yeah.
But I just want to dive right in. You have such a fascinating story.
Yeah.
And I feel like that story has led you to do some really incredible things.
Absolutely.
But for the people that don't know you the way that I do, or some of the other folks in the community do, how did you arrive where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. My journey is an interesting journey. So I'm a first generation immigrant, Calgarian, of course. So grew up in Canada, grew up in Calgary, here, and then also throughout my life, I had some difficult times, right, growing up, right? So I come from divorced parents, of course, right? Shout out to mom, shout out to dad. But I also come from intergenerational trauma. I come from pain. I come from a lot of struggles. I come from being on a very, very dark path. I come from bullying, a lot of interesting stuff, but those struggles have led me to who I am today as a tech leader, as an entrepreneur, as a social entrepreneur from the social impact side, and just being that authentic voice, and also understanding, we all go through trials and tribulations in our lives, and using struggle is something good, and it can be a mechanism for something great.
So I love that framing. And I think that there's so many people that, especially now, try to live their lives without discomfort. And so even, without getting too, thoughtful over here, there's, if you think about everything from like Uber Eats to Uber, and I feel like maybe I'll try to find an example that isn't Uber, but like everything is so easy right now. Amazon delivers everything to your doorstep. What is it about struggle that you think actually makes, someone come out the other side better?
A lot of things, a lot of things. What about struggle, rejection, failing in school, bullying, intergenerational trauma, imposter syndrome, not having that sense of belonging, dying to fit in a community, right? Racism, discrimination, always trying to explain yourself, right? These are all struggles that all of us go through, but we never looked at how we can use these struggles, and it can be a fireball for us, or a motivator for us to do incredible things.
So it sounds like you almost you run towards that struggle, right? And some of them it sounds like are chosen. Some of them are things that probably happened to you along the way. But did you always have the outlook that the struggle was something you were going to embrace and run into? Is it something that you learned? Like, it's such a valuable mindset, but not everyone has. So like, how did you develop that?
I didn't develop it. I lived the struggle. I lived the poverty. I lived the rejections. I've been in situations where I've been fired before. I've been in situations where I was dying to fit in a community, and I've been in situations where overlooked, and tough situations, and being on a very, very bad path, right? And then surviving some serious dark path, and being caught up with the wrong crowd, drugs, violence, things like that. Yeah, it's not that something that I developed, but when you survive these struggles, you look at yourself where you are someone privileged. God has given you a second chance, and you are obligated to do right. So for me, my wake up call was, I don't want to live this life. I don't want to be in poverty anymore. I don't want to be in struggles anymore. I don't want to be in pain anymore, right? So what happened? Mentorship. I was directed by a friend that I needed to go back home. And back home was Sudan for me. And going back home as a Canadian, seeing a third world country, how people were on a survival mindset, I looked at myself and was like, wow, I have all the resources, and living in a first world country with access to education, access to clean water, access to communities that want to help, I should do something with this. And that's where it kind of sparked for the work that I do today.
Unbelievable. And so that perspective really sounds like it was the gift that was the catalyzer for you to kind of move from A to B. And is it fair to say kind of change some things in your life and start to move forward from that point?
Yeah, absolutely. So after my journey from Sudan, going back home, seeing my mother, and seeing how communities, and seeing the youth out there, they're on survival mode, and they were building, side hustles out of nothing, and they were, and they were very smiling, and they were very happy, and they have that motivation and fire. I came back, and I said that I want to do something great. I want to do something powerful. And then I started this not-for-profit. And then my journey, so I was a youth at risk at the time, right? And then becoming a youth at risk. I got myself worked in tech, so my career started off at Staples, right? So selling laptops, and then from there being promoted, fixing motherboards, and not building them, installing software, Windows, right? And then from there to Shaw, and then all of that stuff. So
the rest of the story kind of wrote itself.
Yeah, it kind of reversed itself, right? So then,
yeah, I feel like everyone looks back so fondly on kind of that first job for me. Wendy's was my first job, so not quite as tech adjacent.
Right. Okay.
And so was Staples kind of your first job in that sense? Or?
Yeah, so my first job was two, actually.
Yeah.
Your Wendy's, it was McDonald's and Staples. So with two part-time jobs.
Yeah.
Those were my two first part-time jobs. And yeah, just that I got in love with tech, right? And, just took my career from there. From Staples, I left McDonald's. From Staples, went to Shaw. From Shaw, worked at HP, and then from HP, the rest
keep on going.
Yeah. Like, HP, Syncruit, Fort McMurray, and
This
then
is like the verbal resume.
you're
here. This is
right.
perfect.
So it's a lot, and then my last, and then first Calgary Financial, and then I think WBM,
Yeah.
and then I think my last tech job was WBM Technologies. Actually, sorry, AT&T Windsor Detroit. There you go.
Oh my goodness! Well, I feel like you've created your own tech job, now,
Right,
So, I feel
so-
like you're still working in that space. What is it about tech that you love so much?
What is it about tech? It's fascinating on how things can be disrupted, but also we use tech to make our lives a lot better, right? To increase productivity, to increase efficiency, to have proper data, clean data, right? And you can see everything. And yeah, so I love tech. I love tech gadgets, all that stuff. But then my heart, my passion, I was like, I lived my life in the corporate world. Let me go back and, that spark that, inspired me from my trip to Sudan to come back is, let me start a not-for-profit and let me get my hands wet in the nonprofit space and let me do this thing, So.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, I know we briefly crossed paths at WBM, but, I think when we really first got to know each other, and I don't even know if you knew that I was in the room at this point, but I was at a Innovate Calgary not-for-profit breakfast at the Science Center when you did one of your first talks at Struggle is Your Success.
Right.
And which
3
is your
years ago.
nonprofit. Yeah, that was
something like that.
And I was blown away by the story, by the vulnerability, by the work and purpose of what you were doing.
Yeah.
So if you were to share with our listeners the work that you're doing with Struggle is Your Success, what is the mission that you're on, and kind of what does that work entail?
So the mission is that. So what is Struggle is Your Success? Struggle is Your Success is an innovative not-for-profit that focuses on entrepreneurial skills for BIPOC youth, at-risk youth, the ones who are incarcerated in the justice system, but also the ones who are failing in community. So the ones who are dropping out of university, the ones who are dropping out of high school, the ones who are lost, don't have a proper path, don't have proper mentorship. So we teach entrepreneurial skills through an innovative flagship program called Dream It, Plan It, Build It. What's the dream? What's the plan? And how are you going to build? So yeah, that's it. We've impacted, I think, surpassed 500 plus kids to date, right? Yeah, and the mission is not to leave a youth behind is our number one mission. The vision is to really teach these youth who are struggling the entrepreneurial skill sets through their talents so they can build something that's tangible with a proper outcome that they can lean on, and also use that talent to go back to academia and become the best versions of themselves.
I love it. Is there a specific age group you're working with, or are these people that are kind of at the age of where they're starting to be able to make some of those entrepreneurial choices?
Yes.
Are they at a fork in the road? Like, what's the kind of age group or age range of folks?
14 to 29 is the demographic.
Okay, so it's pretty broad on that front, but people that can really take those skills you're teaching them and have the ability to run with them at that point.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And we've seen the impact. We've seen stories, man. There's so many stories that are on LinkedIn. One of our graduate is now a top 20 under 20 Avenue Magazine alumni. Yeah. Then we also have another youth who was featured on ATV's website, and he's building animations. And so we work with a lot of organizations. We get referrals from Alberta Health Services, CPS, community associations such as PMAST, Peer Mediation and Skills Training, and Momentum. All incredible non-for-profits that they have these youth and they're like, hey, we need SRYS to come in and bridge that gap, because we use that lens of trauma informed practices, but also that entrepreneurial spark, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that entrepreneurial spirit.
And so are you leading those courses yourself?
I was.
Okay.
I was. About 4 months ago, I stopped doing facilitation. Right, so now I have a team of facilitators that run the program. Matter of fact, today we have we're graduating 10 kids, and then on Friday the 27th, March 27th, in Airdrie at Community Links, we're graduating another 10 kids. So it's incredible.
You must be so proud.
Very. Social impact, social good, very. It warms my heart. Me going to bed is changing one life at a time and showing the value proposition in the youth is beautiful.
I love it. Did you imagine that it would reach the stage? Like 500 people impacted is, an incredible societal impact.
Yeah.
And I know that each one of those 500 has their own individual story as well.
Right.
And, you shared a few of them. But in your wildest dreams, when you were setting out and kind of incubating the SIYS program, did you think it would be here?
SIYS was founded in 2012.
Yeah.
Okay, so from 2012 all the way to 2021, I was trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
It was just a passion, something that I love. From 2021, we registered the not-for-profit. In 2021, then we partnered with another organization. I did not know that it would have this massive impact. I would not be where I am without the nonprofit leaders. There's so many names that I would like to mention on this podcast, but I can't mention all of them.
You
but
don't do your Oscar speech where you accidentally miss someone?
Right. I think there was Eminem mentioned. He won a Grammy and he mentioned all 120 rappers. But in this case, for me, I am grateful for every nonprofit leader, volunteer, board member, and judge who judged our program. I would not be without them. Absolutely, I could not do this without them.
That's incredible.
The credit goes to them 100%.
And I think that even that spirit of gratitude and the spirit of the community, even before the show, we were talking about Calgary as a community and just the openness to have everyone help each other.
Yeah, man. Calgary's ecosystem is people want to learn. People want to listen.
Yeah.
People want to have that coffee. Yeah. People are inspired. Changing Calgary's name from Cowtown, I think, to Blue Sky City. Yeah. I think Calgary Economic Development has done a great job in calling it Blue Sky City, because, the sky is not the limit, man. It's always blue, it's always bright, it's always great, right? To impact, and everybody wants to have a coffee and want to learn. So, it's beautiful.
It is, and I think there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to unpack, and the not-for-profit that you've built is only one chunk of it. But just to kind of end on this point, if we think about the impact, are you only in Calgary right now, or are you only in Alberta?
So now we're in Calgary and area. So now SRYS is embedded in Calgary with a lot of partnerships with SRYS. But now we're delivering programs in Airdrie, and now we're eventually, hopefully, seeking a partnership with the city of Edmonton on the justice side, right? So to help the youth there. My intention is to have this as a registered charity, right? So it will be SRYS Society very soon, and it becomes a national organization, right? For entrepreneurial skills for underserved youth who need it the most.
And I love the path that you're on. If there was one ask that you had of our listeners, right? And so if there was something where, there's a slow but steady growing number of people that listen to the show, if you were to ask for help or for something from them, is there anything that comes to mind that they could contribute to the work?
Yes, absolutely. So besides every not-for-profit is always asking for money, right, and donations, right, in this spirit, we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for volunteer facilitators. We're also looking for leaders who can be entrepreneurial judges, right, that can witness the program. I think not everything is money,
Yeah.
right? It's social impact, community impact. When you see the value proposition, I think then the donation will come automatically. So yes, hey, do you want to donate?
Write a check, yeah.
Right? Do you want to donate to SIS? Yes, please. If you know, if you want to fund us, yes, please reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation. But beyond that, we actually really want to help these kids. Yeah.
I love it, and I think that's an incredible path that you're on there.
Appreciate you, man.
So pivoting a little bit to the other side of it. So,
people that don't know.
Yeah, I know that. So I feel, and I know you and I have this track, because you're kind of known as the guy that's building this incredible not-for-profit, but there's a whole other side of you.
Whole other side.
And so if we, I was about to make like a Batman Two-Face joke, but that maybe has more evil implications than planned. You're not Harvey Dent. What is the other side of Moose?
The other side is Moose is a technologist.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a tech guy, right?
So you moved on from Staples.
Yeah, so moved on from Staples to Shaw to So
what are you doing today then?
What am I doing today?
Yeah, so you're a tech guy.
So from Staples, all these jobs that I did in tech. So I'm a tech entrepreneur. I started an artificial consultancy firm called Quality Amalgamation, QA Enterprises, where we implement responsible, ethical AI implementation and automation is what we do, right? So why quality amalgamation? If you look at all of the AI tools, right, they all talk to each other. Right, so it's amalgamating these tools so they can be integrated within your current stack and your current tech portfolio, and making sure that you're using AI in an ethical manner. So, being a technologist, as service desk and tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and then all the way to working on SAP and CRMs and ERP systems, it was very easy for me to learn artificial intelligence, right? Because, I understand GPUs, I understand, all of the Windows implementations. Yeah, so
I feel like I'm going to start an acronym swear jar for you here.
Try. So yeah,
so that's very interesting. So you've launched QA Enterprises,
yeah.
And so what are some of the big problems that that you're solving for customers, that you're solving as you talk to people about AI and as you're building that?
So QA Enterprises was started in November 2022. I think it was right after OpenAI started. In terms of businesses, we haven't really worked with a lot of businesses, but me, as I go out and network with a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people really don't understand how to talk to AI in an ethical, responsible manner. What does that mean? That means prompting. They don't know how to generate correct prompts. They don't understand the ethics of prompt engineering. And there's a lot of fear and stigma, right? Banks don't want to use AI, or they have their internal process. They don't want an outside consultant. Education and AI literacy is not available. Or if it is available, it's there, but it's also confusing on how to adapt it in your current business. So what QA does is we amalgamate these AI tools, but we also educate in an ethical manner and really understand how you talk to AI. So, yeah.
So it's really around where you're finding value is in that connection point between the people and the technology, and how that actual physical interaction happens, of saying, okay, I'd like you to generate a report. I'd like you to do this. Hey, maybe you shouldn't put your entire employees' health information which you probably shouldn't have anyways.
You shouldn't, right? Yeah.
Into ChatGPT free version.
Not health. Yeah, health information is a big, massive no-no. Financial statements on ChatGPT and Gemini is a massive no-no. You got to be careful where your data, you're sending your data to, and who owns that data. Right, governance practices are also a massive issue in Calgary's ecosystem, and across abroad. Right, so prompting. Prompting. I've seen people where I visit their offices. They have ChatGPT open and they're just writing sentence after sentence, sentence after sentence, and they're always trying to think and become creative on how to talk to AI. So there's ways to talk to it in a very responsible manner.
And so if you were to distill some of those ways into a couple like really pointed takeaways that someone could say, okay, here's 3 things that Moose has said that I can start doing tomorrow. What recommendations would you have?
So when it comes to let's before we go into the three basics of and the three basics and the 3 takeaways of prompting, I think people need to understand what is prompt engineering. Okay. In simple words, prompt engineering is how to talk to AI and how to talk to machine learning in an ethical, responsible manner. That's number 1. Okay. Now, when it comes to prompt engineering, right, I'll give you an example. A good prompt and a bad prompt. Here's a bad prompt. Tell AI, write me about dogs. That's a bad prompt. Write me about dogs. It's not specific. Okay. But then a good prompt is write me about dogs, or write me about dogs in terms of their, the type of food that they want, right? Specific foods, right? I think the keywords need to be very selective. So the 3 takeaways is basically garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you give AI, you give it good. You give it bad garbage, it will give you bad results, right? You give it good prompts, good keywords, it will give you good results. So that's number 1. And number 2, I think before you really talk to AI, you need to put a strategy framework, right? A strategy framework around like a small 1-pager on what do you want AI to do for you? What do you want it to solve? What do you want it to automate? Right?
Right.
Have that written, write it in a Word document, half a page, right? What do you want AI to solve? I want it to automate my emails. Okay, perfect. You want it to automate your emails. How are you going to do that? What do you want it to do? Right? And then break down these 3 strategy frameworks. And then from there, use these keywords and inject them into AI.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's 2. And then the last one is getting practice, right, in prompt engineering. Start using a lot of keywords, right? Specific keywords. Like, if you ask me in a Moose, okay, I love your 3 takeaways. Give me an example of keywords that I can use. Use words like outcomes. Use words like deliverables. Use words like strategy. Use words like sustainability, deployment, right? These words will give AI a very powerful way for it to give you a proper result and a proper report. But if you're using words that are like help me understand or help me, words that are like not very deep, it won't give you the keywords that you want.
So just to kind of repeat back to you, just to make sure I understand what you're saying properly, really being pointed around the finish line that you want the AI to cross.
Yeah, what's the finish line?
And say, okay, like I've heard a couple of different frameworks, right? Like the one that I think that I've heard pop up more and more is I think it's called the RACE framework, which is, responsibility, accountability, context, and endpoint.
Yeah.
So like, what is the response? Like, what is the I want you to act as if you are my AI advisor. here's the accountability, here's the context, supporting documents, supporting et cetera, and then here's how I know you're done. What's the end point?
Yeah,
What you're saying.
Yeah. What's the input? I think actually I even have it here written. So set the stage or set the tone,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Set the stage, set the tone to AI. Shape the output. Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
Good input, good output. 3, iterate and optimize.
Yeah.
Right? Keep
like it.
Keep iterating and keep optimizing, right, into a solution that AI can solve for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little bit about QA and then my working around QA. So yeah.
I think that there's 400 more things I could ask there, but I just for the sake of time today too want to pivot onto the education side. So I'm seeing a little bit of a common trend in terms of education, both through QA and the struggle is your success work you're doing. And I think from that, you've actually launched an education platform.
Yes, I did.
That it sounds like it almost ties those two worlds together.
Yes. So let's talk about, the work that I do from a social impact perspective and the work that I do around AI. The youth that we graduate, we see them that they have no access to education, but they want to be engineers. They want to be doctors. They want to learn financial outcomes and financial literacy, all that stuff. So, but because of their situation, they can't go to school. They can't get a job, and some of them have dyslexia and all that stuff. So I did a research and I was like, is there anything around STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, for youth, but leveraging AI? I couldn't find anything. We wanted to create something that's very powerful, very easy, and very digestible. So then I came up with Mini Techies. So Mini Techies is STEM education. It's a STEM education platform, turning your screen time into skill time, right? Using AI avatars and AI tutors.
Very cool. So what does that mean? If I don't quite understand what an AI avatar or AI tutor is, like how would you describe it?
So it's a gamified platform, right, where youth can download the app, learn science, technology, engineering, and math, right, led by a custom AI avatar,
Cool.
right, and a custom AI tutor, right, from real source Alberta curriculum that's injected, and it's gamified learning, where they take the curriculum that's embedded into the app and it turns it into a game, and then they start playing these gamified categories into the app. So yeah,
that's incredible. I saw you do the reach you were about to be like, here's the
I was going to show you.
The real time demo. We'll make sure we put a link in
the
show notes. But I agree with what you're saying there too, where the promise with AI, especially in the education space, is that it doesn't have to be a classroom of 1 to 20 or 30 or 400, which seems to be on the path we're on. You can really create a one-to-one customized experience based on how that individual learns.
Right. So we launched an MVP. It's downloadable now. It's downloadable on the App Store. We got approved through the App Store. We got approved through Google Play Store. So it's downloadable. People can check it out. It's a minimal viable product. It has one game in it, right, which is technology, right? So build me a rocket, things like that. And then it's gamified reinforcement learning for these youth that don't have access to education for underserved populations. And it's also available for everyone. So it's not a specific target demographic, but I see these youth, they're glued to their phones. They're really glued to their phones. So we're turning screen time into skill time, using a parental dashboard. So in terms of privacy, there's no worries there. Parents can look at their kids, what type of game they're playing, but it's all based out of a curriculum. And then we have, I do want to do a shout out to Dr. DeAndre Wilson. She has a PhD in STEM, and she's doing a research paper on Mini Techies to get that out and get it publicized. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, with the evolutions in AI, and if you think about, even the ease now to develop, some of these MVPs and use some of these technologies to really make ideas come true, how has that started to find its way into the work you're doing with Struggle is Your Success? Because if you think about, and this is a conversation that we seem to have a lot right now too, the only barrier right now is creativity. The technology actually is not the barrier anymore.
Nope.
The ability to dream up things, the ability to see new patterns and connect new ideas, that's the novel idea, novel component of it, not necessarily the execution of building the app, building the website, building the platform. And so is there an optimism as you're going through these entrepreneurship cohorts with what technology can do for a lot of underserved communities or people that might not have had the same access to resources before?
Yes, 100%. I think you're absolutely right. The barrier is not technology. You can build anything today.
Yeah.
Anything, any platform. You can use Claude Code, Claude Codex, right? And, prompt engineering, and it builds your platform in no time, right? So I think the issue is more than creativity, more than just coming up with an idea. I think there's an issue where people really need to understand design thinking, right? Design thinking and how to be innovative, right? How can you become someone different? Everyone has a great idea, but some great ideas don't become sustainable, and some ideas fall off, right? But how can you become innovative? And the best way to become innovative is really understanding design thinking practices. And what is design thinking practices? Is how to understand how to be empathetic, sympathetic, prototype, test, and evaluate, right? Understanding what problem are you trying to solve. And if you understand what problem you're trying to solve, then your idea will go a lot of places.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Do you think that some of the struggles, either that you've had or that your students have had, or leaning into those struggles breeds more creativity and kind of novel ways to look at different solutions or scenarios?
Yes and no. Some of them breeds a lot of creativity, but some of them breeds a lot of literacy, lack of education, lack of, some of these youth never used a laptop before, right? So there's an education gap. So what SOS is, we're trying to use that entrepreneurial skills, right, to replace that education gap and say, hey, okay, you never used a computer before, no problem. Here's where you can use Canva AI, right? What's your dream? My dream is to, build a marketing agency. Okay, let's leverage Canva AI. All you need, it's just write a sentence and it does things for you. And then you can edit with the colors. So it's how to become very creative, but also very innovative at the same time, to reduce that barrier of a youth who never used a laptop before in his life, doesn't even know how to open Windows or the start menu or how to shut down a computer, right? So we bridge those gaps. So it's a yes and no answer, but leaders like yourself, like Deliver Digital, would be a perfect fit for SOS to come in and, solve that literacy piece, right? Other organizations that are, there's multiple, like DeAndre Wilson, Tech Helps, Charles Buchanan, all those leaders. Yeah.
So you're a fascinating person. I could ask a bajillion questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there any kind of final words of wisdom? Like, if you were to think about where you are today, the things that you've achieved, the things that you've built, the hurdles you had to jump over to get there, is there specific advice? Like, if you look back at Moose 15, 20 years ago, is there specific advice that you'd give yourself, knowing what you know now?
Yes, I would give advice for to me. Why did I not start sooner?
I love it. What, anything else you'd want to add to that?
Yeah, why I never started sooner, why I didn't find the proper resources and mentorship.
Yeah.
You know, if I started sooner, I would be in a different place right now. But I'm also grateful for the journey of taking that pain, taking those struggles, and turning it into something that will be an everlasting legacy for Calgary and for Albertans. It's beyond myself.
Yeah. I think that's a wonderful way to wrap up. Moose, if someone wanted to track you down, find you, hopefully in a positive way, not like a creepy way, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I think the best way to get in touch with me is on LinkedIn. Yeah. LinkedIn is my jam. Instagram is not. Yeah. You can find me on Instagram, right?
A couple more lifestyle photos.
Yeah, my lifestyle photos, sure. But LinkedIn's where it's at for me. Shoot me a message. Happy to make a coffee, and happy to support. You know, I've had people who supported me. I'm grateful for them. I had people like yourself who was giving me an opportunity and a platform to share this voice. So I would love to give it back. You know, I would love to give it back, and I'd love to open some doors for the ones who want to learn and want to build great things.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Moose.
Thanks, man.
It's been a pleasure. A long time coming, and so glad we were able to have this conversation.
Yeah, cool.
If you've made it this far, like and subscribe on YouTube, or follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting platform so you don't miss any future episodes.